The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
All right, welcome into the Hoop Ball Celtics podcast, everybody, presented by Hoop Ball. I am your host, Patrick Lounsbury. You can also find the show on Twitter at Hoop Ball Celtics. Go ahead and get your all updates on any type of show drops and also anything Celtics news related. Also, you can follow me on social media at Ballin Opinions on Twitter. That's BALLINOPINIONS for anything Celtics related as well. If you also had any questions or anything, just shoot them my way. I will be able to help you with that. I'm also on the new Locker Room app pretty often. You can find me there after games, before games, just chatting it up, answering questions, talking all types of sports, not just Boston Celtics basketball. But we are coming in here at the Boston Celtics basketball. Happy Easter to everybody out there. I hope you guys had a good day, spending it with your family and stuff. But hey, the Celtics showed up. They had themselves a 30-point win in a 116 to 86 win over the Hornets, who now don't have any more Hayward or LaMelo. They just lost Hayward to an ankle sprain. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be out for about 4 weeks now. I think this is one of his first or second games he's missed. So just unfortunate we didn't get to see some Gordon Hayward revenge type of narrative. This is the first matchup between these teams this season, the first of three coming up. I will say that I was kind of expecting a blowout because they just lost Gordon Hayward and they're just kind of short-handed out. Malik Monk's not playing and LaMelo Ball's hurt, so I was kind of expecting like a solid victory today. As long as Boston played somewhat decent basketball, they should come away with a victory. And riding high after beating Houston, just taking that monkey off their back was really nice. It was cool seeing Rozier. Tito Three Sticks, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who did the step back and talk smack to Eric Bledsoe in the playoffs. Yeah, love seeing that guy. Rozier was returning to Boston. Unfortunately, I mentioned that Hayward wasn't there because I looked it up, he's out for the next 4 weeks due to a sprained foot. Hornets are 4th seed right now. Boston is the 8th seed going into this game. They were 1.5 games back, though, from the Hornets. So not much separating the teams from 4 through 8 in the Eastern Conference right now. So this matchup is still very important for the simple fact if it comes down to tiebreakers, the Celtics need to take at least 2 of these 3 matchups away from the Hornets in hopes that if it comes down to a tie at the end of the season, that at least we have the tiebreaker, because I know that we don't hold a lot of the tiebreakers with some of the teams in this area. So with that being said, Jaylen Brown actually got cleared to play despite having that knee bump last game that everybody was scared about after that in that third quarter. He's fine. He came out and played today. As well as we have Romeo Langford, active. Got to play some minutes tonight. We're going to be talking about some stuff like that. How I break down the Celtics on this podcast is I try to go over like some of the good, the bad, give some final thoughts. I always do this pregame where I'm like, I just look at things going into the game. However, I think I'm going to go with the bad to start today just because there's not as much bad and there's a lot of good. And I just want to keep it like a nice Easter Sunday friendly podcast and do the brief bad, and we'll jump into a lot of the good stuff, and then we'll talk some other things as well. Just kind of have like a final point on where we think everything else is kind of falling out through. Jumping into some of the bad things we did see. I know the big reason that we won by so much was because of the 3-point shooting, but in the beginning of a game, I'm still not a big fan of starting there. Like, I'm okay with working up to that 3-pointer, but like, I'm really not a fan of starting the game just chucking 3-point shots. I'm all about taking it to the hoop, getting some easy baskets. Watch one fall. Get yourself going with a layup or a dunk or a backdoor cut. Not a big fan of how they really settle too often in the beginning. I want to put pressure on defense, maybe get somebody in foul trouble, get some more mismatches on the court, just show some initiative. I think that's a big energy thing for me too, where it's like this team hasn't been known to play with a lot of energy, and I think when you definitely want to have that energy where they're attacking. So I'd hopefully in the future, just in the beginning of the games, it's cool if they end up drawing back out to the 3 and it's within the offense and they're getting open looks. I'm cool with the shot. Yeah, you can shoot 100. If 100 shots of the game are open threes, I'm okay with taking only threes. The thing is, I still want you to penetrate the paint, and I feel like sometimes they don't penetrate the paint. So I wasn't very happy in the beginning with the defense. It did end up being a lot better down the line. However, I thought that they were out of position a lot in those first quarter and a half, and there was a lot of moments where they didn't play really solid defensively. And we got to find a solution to take away the ability of teams to just continuously attack Kemba Walker on the defensive side. This man gets abused. I'm talking like every possession. It doesn't even matter who it is. It could be the 5th option on the offense, but they're attacking Kemba Walker every single time down the court. That's a problem. That's going to be a huge problem. And it's also going to come down to my final thoughts topic, which is going to be talking about like the closing lineups and what I have in suggestions and stuff. So, but we'll save that for the end of the podcast. One of the reasons I wasn't too happy with the whole shooting and settling right off the get-go, I mean, the Hornets shot 4-4 from 3 right off the rip. And that's great. They were getting good looks. They were penetrating and kicking it out and getting open shots, and Terry Rozier was being Terry Rozier, and it was going crazy, and they were hitting every shot. Cool. And then you got the Celtics who went 1 of 8 to start, and Tatum was 0-4 and 3 in that first. All of his shots were from deep in the first quarter. He didn't shoot one shot inside the 3-point line. And that's just been his MO, man. We talk about Tatum a lot. I'm especially critical of him because I think he settles too much in his game. How do I explain this? He definitely gives the defense like a break in the sense that he doesn't attack mismatches as well as he should. He'll do a couple dribbles and try to sidestep 3 and shoot over him if it's a mismatch, and it's like, did you really take advantage of your mismatch there, or could you have maybe drove past the guy because you're longer and faster and stronger? Like, there's just some things you got to pick apart here. I think he needs to be a lot better at really abusing them on like mismatches rather than settling. He definitely buys out the defense and makes them not have to work as hard on the defensive end even when they get the switches on them. So that's just something I would like more from Tatum personally. It's kind of a hot take, I guess you can say. Some people have not really liked that take as much, but that's my take to it. Sorry there. Also, I didn't really like Celtics ISOing too much later in that second quarter off switches. It seems that's the thing I dislike about, I think, Tatum and Brown's game at this point in their careers, is that they'll literally get a screen and get, say, a opposing power forward or center on them, and they just get into like this, all right, let's ISO this, I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm not saying don't take advantage of the mismatch, but I think they settle too much, and that's where the issue comes. And it's like, cool, yeah, you got the center on you, but what good is it if you're creating 2 feet of space and then pulling up from 3 on a contested shot? If anything, the center contesting you on a 3 is going to be more difficult than the guard that's probably your height, or the wing player that's your height, or smaller. Like, I don't want a guy who's like 6'11" putting his long arms in front of me, and I just feel like it makes it more of a difficult shot, and you're settling for those more difficult shots. So, really not a fan of that. Also, just some unnecessary fouls at times. Too, in that second quarter, there was just fouls. It's like you're in the bonus, and you just can play straight up defense, and you bail people out by just doing like very sloppy fouls where you're just not moving your feet, and instead you hit them on the arm with your hand or something like that. And I just want to see them more on the defensive side be more disciplined and stay true to their defense, man. Just keep your hands up, slide, be in good position. Practice being in good position. If they hit a shot over you, cool, man. That's fine. Let them hit a shot over you, but make it difficult. Like, make them feel you. That's all I'm saying. Just don't have to foul them to make them feel you. That's not what has to happen there. As far as the bad things, that really wraps that up because going into halftime, Celtics were up 15 and pretty much had the game put away. Third quarter was just them extending the lead and doing a lot of good things, which I'll break down right now. Jaylen Brown had a solid first quarter, despite being in some pain with that hip. He did have a little fall at some point in this game, and it was during either the first quarter or second quarter, and he landed on his hip, and you could see him grimace in pain. I'm just really concerned with him playing through all these injuries. Like, is he ever going to get healthy for the playoffs? Like, I get it. We're fighting for, like, seeding right now, and we need to really ramp it up, especially during, like, an easy stretch like this. But maybe us getting an Evan Fournier gives us the opportunity to maybe rest Jaylen Brown a few games coming down the stretch, or finding ways to not use him as much. I'm not a big old fan of Jaylen Brown being pushed right now. He has this glaring hip issue right now, and then he also has that knee that has tendonitis in it, and he's been struggling with that constantly. But just going to be looking a lot to be able to free up Jaylen Brown a lot more from having to put so much workload on him, especially on the offensive side. Fournier's been really coming around and starting to show, like, hey, yeah, I can be here and I can get consistent buckets off the bench and provide an extra scoring boost that the Celtics have been really missing this year. And I want to see less Jaylen Brown while he gets healthy. I just want a healthy Jaylen Brown. That's all I want, man. And I'm terrified that he is going to go into the postseason and not be 100%. And then, like, how much longer are you going to keep pushing yourself? And you can maybe do an extent to the injury, and that becomes more problematic. And longer down the line, you're like, there's a lingering injury now. So just something to think about on that perspective. Romeo Langford, baby. He is alive. He is real. He played. He only got 12 minutes tonight, but he did show the ability to defend still. We all knew he was an elite defender. We saw some of that in the bubble last year. And he still has the defensive ability. I mean, you go back and look at that 10-minute, 47 point of that second quarter. Romeo went straight up under the rim on a help after a player literally spun and got right to the rim and looked like it was going to be an easy dunk. And he goes up there and blocks it, man. And then right before he blocked that shot on the offensive end, he got the ball off of an off-ball screen at the top of the three-point line and just buried a three. So those are the type of flashes that Celtics fans are probably salivating over, because they're like, man, we got Evan Fournier and Romeo Langford now, and if Romeo Langford can start hitting shots down, like, this whole team is a different team when they're healthy, and people have forgotten about that because they haven't been healthy. And I understand that they're like, oh, that's just an excuse, but it's a damn good excuse. It's legitimate. They have not been healthy. Like, this team has been fighting the health. COVID's hit this team a lot. Injuries have hit this team a lot. Like, they are fighting back. We're still waiting on Tristan Thompson to come back from COVID. And people are like, yeah, well, Robert Williams. Yeah, but, like, imagine that, Robert Williams can still keep his starting position. And even if he doesn't keep his starting position, he can still keep his starter, like, minutes. And you switch him and Thompson out there, and it's a different dynamic of players. Like, it could help the Celtics a lot. So I just want to see this team get a lot more healthy and get more consistent. I don't want to see anybody else on minute restrictions or anything like that. I think that'd be great for the team moving forward, and that's just something I'm really looking forward to at this point. Let's see here. Evan Fournier was still hot. Like, he came into this game and he was on fire. He even had like an and one 3-pointer at that 6:34 mark of that second quarter. He was fantastic. I just think that addition of Fournier has been ideal. It's been what we've been asking for, and I'm happy that the Celtics have acquired him for what they did, and he's really showing like, hey, yeah, I'm here to help you guys. I'm here to make us elevate this team and knock down open shots. We haven't had a guy off the bench been able to do that, and even if he ends up starting for some reason down the line or anything like that, I'm okay with that too. Like, that's cool. Yeah. What did he have? He had 22 minutes. He had 17 points in those 22 minutes off the bench. That is something that the Celtics have needed. He tied for the game high in points. Or no, sorry. He's second. He tied for second most points in the game, and he only played 22 minutes. That's fantastic. The Celtics ended that second quarter with that 11-4 run. Thought that was really good. Really came together there. Pushed that lead out despite not shooting the greatest in that first quarter, particularly from like a Kemba Walker and Tatum, who both were 0 of 6 in the first half from 3. That's a combine of 0 from 12. So not good shooting there in that first half by those two. Also, Celtics had 3 turnovers to the Hornets 9. That's a big gap. 6 turnovers is a big gap. And I thought the Celtics did a good job of protecting the ball. They ended up causing 17 turnovers to the Celtics 6. And I'm pretty sure that like 2 of those turnovers out of the 6 came in garbage time from the bench units, like the Taco Falls and Tremont Waters and Carson Edwards. You know, like I feel like those shouldn't even count. And the ones we got during those time periods shouldn't count either. But overall, they protected the ball really well. Extremely well. Like, that's just not something that's been the MO of the Celtics. In that first half as well, they had 19 bench points compared to Charlotte's 13. So the bench is outscoring the opposing bench. That's a very rare sighting for Boston this season. It's something that we needed to definitely be better at, and I think Fournier is elevating that aspect of the Celtics right now. Celtics came out of that first half to start that third quarter. They were hustling on both ends. Their energy levels are up, and they look like a team that wanted to put this game away and just put the nails in the coffin and go home. They didn't let up. It was nice to not see them, take their foot off the gas pedal and to really keep their foot on the necks of the opponent and put them away. This is the type of team that we were expecting. They should be blowing out teams like this. That if you're shorthanded and the Celtics are out here with their stars and playing, like, they should be able to put you away. And they did a good job tonight of doing that. Tatum actually was a monster in that third quarter. He legit just was hitting every single shot. The third quarter seems to be Tatum's favorite quarter for some reason lately, but he had a nice little stretch where he had 7 straight points for Boston in that quarter, and he just couldn't be stopped, man. It was just, he had an exclamation point to in the third quarter in that game, and he had like this dribble, and then he like shook the defender fell, and he took a little step to the left and knocks down a 3 right at the buzzer of the third. Just really like putting an exclamation point on the Celtics game at that point. The game was over. The Jaylen Brown didn't even take another step on the court in that fourth quarter. Thank God. Watching him out there hobbling, it was not a good time, man. Makes me stress out over Jaylen Brown, man. Just want that dude to be healthy. The big takeaway, the fourth quarter, didn't talk a lot of the fourth quarter. Reason I don't talk a lot of the fourth quarter because it was all garbage time. It was cool to see some Taco time. He had a nice little up and under move at the basket. Taco is very encouraged by Boston fans. I thought the crowd was great when they saw Taco get up, man, and you felt the energy in the building. I know the Celtics are only allowing a 12% capacity as far as fans in the building, but this 12% is always heard, and they always are yelling for Taco. Taco got a solid 5 minutes there, the last 5 minutes of the game he played, and he did his thing, man. It was a Taco time. You also saw some Aaron Nesmith in that last few minutes. didn't score. Peyton Bridge was solid. He really good at controlling the pace of the game. He's really feisty on the defensive side. Thought he did a lot of good things. Fournier, once again, 17 points. The highest plus-minus on the Celtics at 24. Wasn't really close for anybody else. Smart had was a plus 18. Robert Williams with another solid game. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He did have 5 fouls tonight, but he was really doing a lot everywhere. He was 7 of 9 from the field, so not 9 of 9, but he missed 2 shots this time. But he knocked down 2 free throws, 2 of 2. He had a couple good post moves where he finished, man, and I was really impressed by his ability to fight through contact and make a tough post move shot. I think if he continues to develop that part of his game, it's going to really elevate his ability to even be better for the Celtics. Like, having a post threat would be absolutely amazing, and hopefully he's able to really work on that part of his game and develop it. Kemba Walker, he had a struggling game. It wasn't his best game. He had 12 points. He did have 6 assists. He led the team in assists, so was able to still create for others. He was 2 of 9 from deep and 5 of 12 from the field. Tatum, again, start off that game really slow. Ended up going 3 of 9 from deep, so he ended up hitting his next 3 3-pointers after missing his first 6. 3 of 4 from the line. He had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, plus-minus of 16, 22 points, 8 of 15 from the field. Really solid. Jaylen Brown was really solid, 6 of 13, 5 of 8 from deep. He's been shooting that 3-ball really well. 17 points, plus 14, and he had 6 rebounds and 1 assist. So solid there by Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart, 4 of 7 from 3. 4 of 8 from the field. When Marcus Smart hits his jumpers, man, it really opens up that offense a lot more. He had 12 points, 4 assists. So good to see Marcus Smart not super struggling from the 3-point line like he has been the past few games, but really turning it around. Celtics shot a total of 38.9% from deep, hitting 21 of 54 3-pointers attempted. It's a lot of 3-pointers attempted. A lot. They were 43 of 94 from the field. That's 45.7%, and they only shot 11 free throws tonight, which was crazy. And compared to the Hornets, who shot 20, the Hornets didn't really take advantage there. They had only hit 12. I will shout out Terry Rozier. He was 8 of 19 from the field, had 22 points, led the Hornets. There was only 2 other guys that scored more than 10 points, though, on the Hornets. Bridges had 10, and Graham had 11. Everybody else on that team either had 7 points or less, so a team that really struggled to score. A lot of effects also. Boston just was locked in on the defensive side, man. It was impressive. It was like one of their best defensive games that they've had all season. Knock on wood, hopefully that works out going forward. We also saw some Brad Wanamaker. He played 18 minutes for the Charlotte Hornets, 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 0 of 3 from deep. He had 7 points, It was cool to see him, back in Boston after he spent the last 2 seasons with us. So, shout out to Brad Wanamaker there. But yeah, that kind of caps all the good stuff here for us. Going into some final thoughts here is, I just want to know, the thing is with these past 3-4 games is when we first got Fournier, right? His first game was a second game of a back-to-back, so there was no Kemba Walker. So then the next game was the Jaylen Brown leaves in the third quarter, bumped his knee or something like that. So he left. Then you have the Houston blowout game. So we threw on the reserves to end the game. Then you had this game where we blow them out and you throw out the reserves in the whole fourth quarter. What is the Celtics closing lineup? We don't know yet. And I have some theories on what it should be and what I think it's going to be. I obviously think it's going to be matchup based for one. That's gonna be the ultimate factor. So if you're going against a big man like a Joel Embiid, then you're going to see Robert Williams or / Tristan Thompson when he's healthy. However, if you're not going against a Joel Embiid-esque type center in the league, if you're going more against a hybrid, stretchy, big man like a Brook Lopez or maybe not even a Brook Lopez, but maybe like a Christian Wood that we faced in Houston, or a Nets team who has like a DeAndre Jordan of some sort where he's not really a post threat, I would love to see the Celtics go small. And I think they would go Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Fournier. And you can have Marcus Smart bully big men that don't know how to post. Like, he has that ability. Marcus Smart can give big men trouble. He can guard in the post and push them out. He's strong enough. So, I think that would cause a lot of mismatches on the offensive side for them when they're, like, pushing the ball. And it's like, everybody there can shoot. Everybody can spread the court. And there's a lot of playmaking available to them. And it just brings them to a whole new level. So, it'll be interesting to see. I think they end up going probably with a Kemba, Smart, Jaylen, Tatum, Robert Williams majority of nights, because that's just what I get the perception of. But that means you're benching Fournier in the closing lineup, and that just to me sometimes is like, he might be the best 3-point shooter on this team, the most consistent shooter, steady shooter on the team. I understand that Tatum and Brown are really good, and they can create for themselves really well, but like coming off screens and stuff like that, Fournier just needs a little, little opening, and he can hit pretty much a lot of threes, especially when he's in rhythm. So it'll be interesting to see what type of complications come down the line as far as that goes. But yeah, tweet at me at Ballin' Opinions and really throw me some crazy lineup ideas that you guys have, or some type of things some hot takes as far as the closing lineups you think is going to end up happening that Brad might end up experimenting down this line, because he's got to figure this out before the playoffs come. Also, I wanted to note one thing from this game that I really loved. I absolutely loved the fact that no starter played more than 30 minutes. None. Jason Tatum had a nice, easy 28-minute night, and him and Smart led the team in minutes with 28. Robert Williams, 25. Kemba Walker, 26. Jaylen Brown, 26. Fournier, 22. Pritchard, 17. Langford had 12, guys. Langford had 12. That's amazing. Love to see him get some stints out there, man. But yeah, I'm really excited for the next matchup between the Sixers to get some Rob Williams versus some Joel Embiid. A lot of trash talking and everything like that. That's going to be a good time. I'm really excited for that matchup. They play on Tuesday. We'll be welcoming them into the Garden. So I hope everybody here had a wonderful Easter. I'm going to wrap this up right now. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at HoopBallCeltics. That's HoopBallCeltics, all one word. You can also follow me on Twitter at Ballin' Opinions. That's BALLINOPIONIONS. All right. If you also have any questions or anything, you can always shoot them at me. Please go and rate the show on Apple Podcast, wherever you're listening this from. Please just go rate, review, write me a message. You can write about how dumb my lineup is. You can write me how you like my show or whatever, but just write something. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. And yeah, guys, I will see you guys next time after the Tuesday matchup between Joel Embiid and those Sixers. I hope you guys have a good night. Happy Easter. Later.